Discover the incredible, heartwarming film that revealed 5 life-changing truths in 90 minutes. Emma stood at the intersection of her life's dreams and harsh realities, a single mother putting her heart and soul into every moment. At 35, her days were a blur of classroom lessons and diner shifts. By night, the clatter of plates and the hum of conversation filled the Maplewood diner, where she barely managed to catch her breath between serving endless cups of coffee and plates of home-cooked meals. But each smile from Jake, her bright-eyed 12-year-old son, reminded her why she never stopped. His laughter rang like music in her ears, a reminder of hope, echoing through the cramped little apartment they called home. He dreamed of the day he would stand triumphant on a field, a professional athlete, living out the dream that Emma had sacrificed everything for. But just as they settled into a rhythm of resilience, the town shook under the burden of news that would change everything. The Maplewood Community Center, their haven, the heart that beat for countless families, faced the terrifying threat of closure due to budget cuts. Emma stumbled upon the flyer while cleaning out her mailbox. It felt like a punch to the gut. The center was more than just a building, it was a sanctuary where children played, adults connected, and lives intermingled. To think it could be lost was unbearable, her heart raced, thoughts swirling. Emma took off her apron and dashed to the small park, rallying neighbors and friends. "We can't let this happen," she shouted, her voice strong against the whispers of despair. People started gathering, eyes shining with the same fire she felt in her chest. As she spoke, she felt the magic of community wash over her. They were one, united under a common cause. Yes, they had individual struggles, but together they were a force to be reckoned with. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just as hope began to bloom, the shadows deepened with betrayal. The town's mayor, a man cloaked in greed, unveiled plans to sell the community center's land to developers. Emma's chest tightened at the thought of shiny condos replacing memories of laughter and friendship. Choices were being made without considering the people those decisions affected. The glares during town meetings felt like a fence drawn between the elite and the struggling families, and Emma found herself standing firmly on the front line. Then came the twist she never saw coming. Mr. Thompson, a local war veteran, stepped into the spotlight, revealing secrets about the town's history that spun tales of honor and integrity. His weathered hands grasped the microphone as he shared, breathing life into their collective past. In that moment, ghosts of estranged family members emerged, converging as allies against the dark forces threatening their community spirit. Emma's heart swelled with love and anger, fueling her resolve. At the center of these chaotic emotions stood Emma, fists clenched and ready to fight. The air around her buzzed with energy and tension, swelling as neighbors turned their heads toward her, hope flickering in their eyes. With a voice cracking yet fierce, Emma prepared to speak, her mind racing with thoughts of what was at stake. Would they join her to reclaim their sanctuary, or would money win out over memories? Standing on the steps of the community center, she felt the weight of change press against her. The uncertainty lay heavy, and it was time to find out if unity could overcome adversity. Emma took a deep breath, her gaze sweeping over the crowd. Faces old and young, filled with determination, reflected her own resolve. "This isn't just about a building," she began, her voice steadying. "It's about our community. It's about Jake, and all of your children who play here, who dream here." With every word, the swell of unity grew, as the supporters around her nodded and murmured in agreement. "I grew up in this town. My parents met right outside these doors. I learned how to ride my bike just over there." Emma pointed toward the park where kids played ball, seniors gathered for chess, and laughter rang like the sweetest music. "We've all built our lives around this place. It is our history, our heart. And how can we let them demolish that?" Cheers erupted from the crowd, reaffirming the fire in her heart. But as the echo of her rallying call faded, uncertainty crept back in. Emma glanced at Jake, his eyes wide with admiration but also a flicker of worry. Did he sense the weight of this battle too? Raising him alone was already a daunting task. Could she also carry the hopes of an entire community? Just then, a voice cut through the noise. Yes, right. We 1T stand by and watch as they take away our home. It was Mrs. Ramirez, their neighbor, clutching her husband's hand. His thumbs absently rubbed her knuckles, perhaps trying to soothe a heart that had lived through too many disappointments. Our children deserve more. More voices joined in, a cacophony of passion and purpose melding into a collective anthem. Save the community center. Save Maplewood. It was beautiful and overwhelming at the same time. Each shout, each cheer pushed Emma to stand a little taller, to fight a little harder, but as they planned their next steps, the shadows seeped back in. The mayor's presence loomed large in the back of her mind. This wouldn't be easy. She could already picture him sneering at their efforts with his polished suit and empty promises. That night, Emma sat at the small kitchen table, papers scattered before her, proposals, plans, names of local businesses willing to back their cause. But she found her mind drifting, replaying the events of the day. Every cheer and every face fueled her spirit, yet every nagging doubt plagued her heart. Mom, Jake's voice broke the silence, his soft tone grounding her. Are we really gonna win? She turned to him, seeing the boy who wanted nothing more than to chase dreams on the soccer field, whose passion mirrored her own. We have to believe we can, sweetheart, she whispered, reaching for his hand. We have to show people that we care enough to fight for it. He nodded slowly, yet Emma could see the flicker of fear dancing behind his eyes. It reminded her of her own doubts, echoing in the back of her mind like a distant storm. That night, sleep evaded her as she acknowledged the fear of failure. But inside that fear burned an undeniable spark of hope, the kind that ignites revolutions, the kind that fuels change. The next town meeting was only days away. Emma knew they couldn't show up empty-handed. They needed a plan, a presentation that would slam down the mayor's smugness. She turned to Jake, excitement bubbling up once more. Let us gather some stories, examples of what the community has done together. We can show them that shutting down the center would be losing a part of what makes this town special. Can I help? He asked, a glimmer of determination breaking through his worry. Absolutely. Emma smiled, realizing this journey was teaching them both about resilience, love, and the power of community, but as they pieced their efforts together, would they be ready to face the mayor's wrath? And what sacrifices would come from their fight for the heart of Maplewood? Emma's heart raced at the thought, a blend of hope and uncertainty swirling within her. In just a few days, they would stand before the town once more. The stakes were higher than ever, and the outcome felt terrifyingly close. Emma clutched Jake's hand, their united front preparing for whatever came next. Would they rise together, or would the future they envisioned slip through their fingers? As night gave way to dawn, one burning question lingered: how far were they willing to go to save their home? As the meeting drew closer, Emma and Jake transformed their home into a makeshift headquarters. The kitchen table became a battleground, statements printed, graphics designed, and stories carefully selected to capture the heart of Maplewood. They spent hours roaming around town, gathering anecdotes, snapping pictures of families at the park, and listening to the laughter of children. Each moment, each face, fueled Emma's determination. She was driven not just by the need to save a building but to preserve the memories and moments etched within its walls. Look, Mom! Jake said excitedly, holding up a photograph he had taken, a candid shot of Mrs. Ramirez teaching her grandson how to ride a bike, his small face filled with concentration. This is what it's all about. People learning together, having fun. This is what the community center brings. Emma smiled, feeling warmth spread in her chest. Exactly. This shows the heart of our community. We can't allow those memories to vanish. Yet, underneath that excitement, an undercurrent of anxiety tugged at her. As the town meeting approached, the weight of the mayor's impending opposition loomed large, heavy as an anchor in her chest. She pictured him, an imposing figure who thrived on intimidation, poised to dismiss their stories. How would they raise their voices against the polished facade he put forth? The day of the meeting arrived, a brisk Tuesday evening that felt charged with tension. The community center buzzed with energy as supporters gathered, talking in earnest whispers, anticipation brewing in the air. Emma and Jake slipped into the back, clutching a bundle of papers that felt like the hopes of everyone who had ever stepped through those doors. "Do you think everyone will show up?" Jake asked, looking around with wide eyes. "They will. They believe." "Just like we do," Emma assured, though her own heart raced with uncertainty. As the clock ticked closer to the start, she felt a warm hand squeeze her shoulder. It was Mrs. Ramirez, her eyes sparkling with determination. "We're with you, Emma. You've sparked something in us, something we thought we'd lost." Emma turned to face her, and in that moment, she saw not just a neighbor, but a friend, a warrior for their cause. "Thank you. This means everything." Before long, the meeting began, and the room quieted. The mayor swept in, all smiles and charm, but Emma could see the underlying arrogance in his posture. Her breath hitched, but she stood a little taller, gripping Jake's hand tighter. With each presentation, people spoke passionately, proud stories filled with laughter, families formed, memories made. By the time it was Emma's turn, she felt the stirrings of hope dance through the air like fireflies in the dusk. She approached the podium, her heart pounding like a drum. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, her voice steady though her knees shook. As she spoke, her nerves faded, replaced by the love and determination for her community. She shared stories of children learning at the center, of elderly members finding companionship, of lives intertwined within those walls. And then came the pivotal moment when she revealed Jake's photograph to the crowd, pushing it forward like a precious gem. It illuminated the hopefulness of the center, the very essence of Maplewood. Gasps rose around the room, a beautiful wave of shared emotions cresting over the crowd. Emma locked eyes with Jake, and for that moment, the weight of their battle felt lighter. There was love here, a palpable energy running through everyone gathered. They were not simply fighting to preserve a building, they were fighting for their shared history and the future generations who called this town home. But as applause rolled across the room, a smirk appeared on the mayor's face, his silence a heavy weapon in the air. Emma could almost feel his calculated planning swirling around him as he prepared to counter their every word, and that tightening gut sensation returned. "Mom, what if?" Jake's voice quivered, hinting at the worry creeping back that it dawned on Emma that the moment of truth was near. She glanced at the mayor, whose eyes glittered with a tactical sharpness, and a question formed in her heart that resonated deeper than all the others. What would be their next step in this fight for a place that meant so much? Would they be ready to face his tactics and pressures? The reply hung in the balmy air, a mix of excitement and trepidation. They stood on the edge of something greater, and as the mayor cleared his throat, the tension cracked like lightning around them. Emma took a deep breath, preparing for whatever came next. Could they withstand the storm brewing in the mayor's heart? The room tilted in a hush, every eye fixated on the mayor as he leaned forward, fingers laced in front of him on the polished table. His gaze swept over the crowd, scouting for signs of weakness, searching for cracks in their unity. Emma felt every heartbeat drum through her ears, the anticipation buzzing like electricity in the air. "Thank you, Emma, for sharing such emotional testimonies," the mayor began, his tone oozing condescension. "But let us remember the facts. The center is, quite frankly, a drain on our town's resources." A collective gasp echoed through the crowd. Emma's stomach dropped, and she glanced at Jake, whose eyes widened, reflecting her own fear. "Is that really what you believe?" She found herself saying, the words pouring out before she could stop them. "The center is not just a building. It's the heart of this community. It fosters learning, encourages friendship, and provides safety for our children." His eyes flickered with amusement. And we could use that funding for more important projects like roads, or more empty rhetoric. Are we really prioritizing asphalt over community? Emma interjected, her voice rising with unexpected passion. The crowd murmured approval, excitement teetering on the edge of rebellion against the polished facade he presented. The mayor's smile faltered just for a moment, but he quickly regained his composure. The facts are clear, he stated, tapping a stack of graphs with one finger. These programs are nice, but if they're not financially viable, they must be cut. Simple as that. A woman from the back stood up. And what about the lives you impact? What about the families who depend on the community center? Her voice trembled, raw with emotion, as if she was begging for validation. Emma watched as more hands shot up, voices rising in a chorus of solidarity and passion, each person ready to share their own story. Stories of friendships formed, skills learned, and dreams ignited. This was a tide, shifting with the power of their shared experiences, but as Emma listened, she felt that tightening in her gut again. A shadow fell over the mayor's face, a look of something far scarier than arrogance calculation. That's sweet, truly, he said with a feigned sigh. But we live in a world where sentiments don't cut it. Where I come from, it's about results. What concrete evidence do you have that this center succeeds in its purpose? Jake, who had been intently watching, suddenly stepped forward, breaking the barrier between the adults. How about all the kids here? Look at us. His voice rang out, echoing off the walls. We're learning because of that place. My friends love it, and it helps us play together and enough. The mayor snapped, cutting through the air like a knife. Shock rippled through the room. Emma felt her heart clench for Jake as she wrapped a protective arm around him, but Jake didn't flinch. No. This matters. He insisted, his eyes shining. You can't measure friendships with numbers. Or smiles. What kind of leader doesn't see how important that is? A silence fell, utterly still, as the mayor stared down at Jake. Emma held her breath. Very brave, kid, the mayor said after a tense pause, but this isn't about bravery. This is about hard choices. These choices affect everyone in Maplewood. This was it, Emma thought. He was trying to intimidate them into silence, but she sensed a change in the room. People were standing taller, faces hardening in defiance. Emotions coursed through the crowd like wildfire. What do you want to do? She whispered to Jake, glancing around at the friends and neighbors who were rallying behind them, protecting what they all cherished. I want them to see what the center really means, Jake replied, his voice steady. And what it can be. Emma felt a surge of pride and fear all at once. They were at a turning point, and with the crowd's energy behind them, they had the chance to strike back. She smiled at Jake, straightening up as a wave of determination surged once more. Then let us show them. As they prepared to push back against the tide of doubt, a new fire ignited within Emma's chest. There were voices to be heard and stories to tell. The mayor leaned back, crossing his arms, clearly ready to counterattack, but Emma felt the warmth of her community beside her, a shield that would not waver. What would they reveal next? The stakes were climbing higher, and Emma could sense the whisper of truth beneath the surface, shining brighter than she ever anticipated. Would it be enough? The answer hung tantalizingly in the air, electric, and everything was about to change. With renewed courage flooding through her, Emma felt the energy in the room shift once more. She could see it in the faces of her neighbors, determination mixed with hope. A few people leaned forward, eager to speak, while others exchanged glances, silently asking what they could do. Let us share our stories, Emma said, her voice cutting through the tension. What the center means to us, to our families. Those stories will show why we can't lose this place. A ripple of agreement swept through the crowd. The first to raise their hand was Mrs. Holloway, a grandmotherly figure known for her baked goods and warm smile. I taught my grandson how to swim, she said, tears glistening in her eyes. He was so scared at first. But the community center gave him a safe place to learn. Now he is a lifeguard. Twice a week, he helps little kids. What kind of community would we be without that? The crowd gasped, her story igniting flickers of memories in others. One by one, people started to stand. I met my best friend at the center, shouted Tara, a teenager, her hands shaking with excitement. We play on the softball team together. I wouldn't have known her if it weren't for the center. It brought us together. Another voice chimed in, a father with a nervous smile. My daughter gets tutoring there. She was struggling in school, but those teachers, they believed in her. Now she's getting straight A's. Jake squeezed Emma's hand, his eyes bright with excitement as more voices joined the chorus. Emma could feel the tide turning, the murmurs growing into a powerful wave. They weren't just sharing stories, they were impacting the very air around them, stirring emotions hidden beneath the surface. See, Mayor. Emma called out, emboldened by the crowd's energy. This is what we're fighting for. These stories are what matters, not just the dollar signs on your charts. The mayor's expression darkened. Emotional appeals won't fund your dreams, he countered, but there was a falter in his tone. Emma sensed his grip was slipping bit by bit. Maybe not, she said, stepping closer, her voice steady and dripping with resolve. But they can inspire a community to unite. And that's far more powerful than a spreadsheet. At that moment, an older man in the back stood up, his voice shaking but filled with passion. I lost my job last year. The center helped me connect with others in my situation. We shared job leads, but it was also a place to find hope. I don't know what I would have done without it. The crowd erupted with applause, a harmonious thunder of support that filled every corner of the room. Emma felt uplifted, the heartbeat of community thrumming louder than ever. This was their moment, and they were rising together, refusing to let their voices be silenced. The mayor visibly shifted, the tightness in his posture betraying the surprise he felt. He scanned the crowd, no longer looking for cracks but possibly trying to fortify his own facade. Enough with the stories, he said, but Emma could see the wavering in his gaze. It's about resources. You all want to keep this place open, but where's the funding going to come from? Emma took a step forward, fueled by a newfound adrenaline. We're not asking you for a handout. We're offering our hearts. We'll fundraise, organize, and come together like never before. This center isn't just your concern anymore. It's ours. With that declaration, a cheer erupted. The room vibrated with an unmistakable energy. The challenge had been laid down. Emma felt alive, the electricity fueling her confidence and her direction. As the chatter amplified, Emma caught Jake's eye again. We can do this, he said, his excitement bubbling. We will do this, Emma replied, determination washing over her. And just as they were on the cusp of greatness, a heavy tension filled the air when the mayor spoke again, his tone suddenly serious. Very well, let us discuss the next steps, he said, leaning back with a calculating look, revealing the mayor behind the political mask. Emma's heart raced. What would that mean for them? Will you try to stop us? She blurted out, fear threading through her anticipation. The mayor paused, a mysterious glint in his eye. That depends on how persuasive your stories turn out to be, doesn't it? The weight of his words hung between them, thick and foreboding as they braced themselves for the battle ahead. What card would the mayor play next? Would their voices truly be enough? Emma realized the fight was only just beginning. Emma's mind raced, fueled by the mystery of the mayor's challenge. She looked around the room, where so many familiar faces now held a glimmer of determination. The air crackled with a mix of anxiety and hope, creating a palpable energy that urged her forward. Let us make this happen. Someone shouted from the back, and the room erupted in cheers once more. Each voice echoed the promise of unity. Emma clutched Jake's hand tightly, feeling the warmth of his support. All right, the mayor said, adjusting his collar. Let us set some ground rules for this campaign of yours. I'm willing to entertain your ideas, but uniting this community will take more than heartfelt stories. Emma nodded, her brain dancing between strategies and possibilities. What do you suggest? She inquired, leaning in, her heart pounding. You'll need a proper plan: fundraising goals, outreach efforts, events to get the community involved. Show me you're serious about this, and I might be more inclined to listen. His tone remained stiff, but she sensed a slight softening in his demeanor. A wave of ideas hit Emma like a sudden gust of wind. We can host a family fair. We'll have games, food trucks, talent shows, all to celebrate what the center means to us. We can charge entry fees, set up donation booths, people will come. Faces lit up around her. A community fair could be just the spark they needed. It'll show the mayor and everyone how much this center is worth to us, Jake added, his enthusiasm catching fire. We can make it the event of the season. Mrs. Holloway chimed in again. I could bake my famous cookies. And my grandson could make lemonade. We can turn this into a real tradition. As voices rose, Emma felt the sheer power of community surrounding her like a warm blanket. But underneath her excitement, something gnawed at her. Would it be enough? Let us get organized, she called out, her voice unwavering. We need volunteers. We'll break up into groups to tackle every part of the fair: planning, promoting, managing booths. Hands shot up, and everyone began to talk over each other, their excitement cutting through any lingering doubts. Emma felt the rhythm of their collective energy bustling in the air. Plans began to take shape, and in that moment, she knew they could do this, but then the mayor raised his hand, still commanding attention. I'll support you with resources, but keep in mind, this won't be a cakewalk. The city council has a tight budget, and your fair won't be the only demand they see. Emma felt a chill creep in, but she fought against it. We won't give up. This is just the beginning. The words flowed out like a promise. She believed it with every fiber of her being. As the conversation continued, a whirlwind of ideas filled the room. A lighting of hope danced in each person's eyes. They were stepping into a challenge bigger than themselves, and together they would forge a path toward reclaiming what mattered. Home. By the end of the meeting, excitement filled the space where uncertainty had been. They now had direction, support, and each other. But Emma couldn't help but wonder, would they truly be able to convince the council and the mayor that their community center was worth fighting for? As the crowd began to disperse, she caught the mayor's eye. He gave a slight nod, and for the first time, Emma sensed a flicker of respect. Maybe, just maybe, this would change everything, and as she stepped outside into the night, the weight of the world pressing against her shoulders, Emma realized the hardest part was yet to come. What if their efforts weren't enough? What if the fight she envisioned had consequences she hadn't anticipated? With her heart racing in anticipation, Emma resolved to push ahead, no matter the cost. Because some battles are worth fighting even if the odds seem stacked against you. The sun rose over the town the next morning, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. Emma woke up with a mix of excitement and anxiety churning in her stomach. Today was the day they were going to start their campaign for the community fair, and she'd be lying if she said she wasn't a little overwhelmed. After a quick breakfast, she gathered her notes and met Jake at the park, where they had planned the first volunteer meeting. The air was fresh, and the sound of birds chirping filled the space. Emma took a deep breath, trying to mingle her apprehension with the hope of what they could achieve. Good morning, Emma. Jake greeted her with a bright smile, holding a cup of coffee. Ready to kick this off? I think so, she replied, though her voice trembled ever so slightly. We really have to impress people today. It's the start of something big. They set up a small table beneath a large oak tree, adorned with posters and flyers announcing their intentions. Soon, people began to trickle in. Mrs. Holloway was the first to arrive, her arms full of baked goods. I wouldn't dream of starting without my cookies, she declared, her eyes twinkling. Perfect. Emma said, her heart warming at the sight of the delicious treats. She could feel the community spirit swirling around them. As familiar faces filled the park, the energy shifted. Each person brought their own ideas, excitement, and stories, all of which danced in Emma's heart like bright confetti. It was a beautiful chaos filled with laughter and spirit, and she often found herself moving between conversations, soaking in the enthusiasm. Emma! Called out a young woman, waving her hand wildly. I'd love to help organize the talent show. I've been in some community theater, and I know a ton of great acts. Emma nodded vigorously. That's amazing. We'd love that. We need to showcase all kinds of talent, and you can help make it happen. As volunteers signed up, Emma could feel the winds of change beginning to shift. But just as the thrill of progress surged, doubts crept in once more. Would they be able to pull everything together? Would they get enough attendees? Hey, Jake said softly, sensing her wavering spirit. You're doing great, Emma. Look at how many people are showing up. They believe in this. They believe in you. His words wrapped around her like a warm embrace, reigniting her determination. They spent hours discussing plans, and the usual sounds of the park melted into a symphony of ideas being tossed around and hearts being laid bare. Little by little, Emma's fears began to dissolve, replaced by infectious enthusiasm echoing across the space like a strong pulse. They assigned roles, created timelines, and mapped out advertisements. The day flowed with an uplifting energy, and soon, Emma's doubts felt like distant whispers. They were not just planning a fair, they were bringing the community together. As the meeting wound down and the sun dipped lower in the sky, a group of people gathered around Emma and Jake to ask more about the vision for the fair. Bursting with questions, their eagerness only solidified the feeling that something big was brewing, but amid the excitement, a familiar figure approached. It was the mayor, a stern look twisting his face. Emma's heart raced again, fearing he would throw cold water on everything they had just built. Emma, he said, his voice low but steady, I need to talk to you. Suddenly, the energy shifted. The smiles around her faded into uncertainty. She glanced at Jake, who nodded reassuringly, yet the tension built inside her like a thick fog. What could the mayor want? Did he have news that threatened their plans? As the group parted, leaving Emma alone with the mayor, she braced herself for whatever was to come next. Would he support them, or was this a warning to be cautious? Emma steeled herself, knowing that the course of their efforts may depend on this very moment. Emma felt her heart pounding in her chest as the mayor's gaze settled on her. His brows knitted together, and she could almost hear the echoes of her worries in the tense silence between them. Was he about to burst her bubble of hope? Emma, he started again, his tone uncharacteristically softening. I've been hearing some buzz about your fair. It seems to have really caught people's attention. Oh, she managed, surprise washing over her. You think so? He nodded, his expression betraying a glimmer of genuine interest. Yes. But, there's something we need to discuss. The town has certain regulations. Emma's stomach dropped. She had seen her community thrive in creativity and ingenuity, but government rules often felt suffocating, like a choked plant desperate for sunlight. The mayor continued, we want to ensure the event goes smoothly and safely. Is he going to tell me we can't do this? The thought almost made her sick. I understand that safety is important, but we've got so many amazing people ready to help. I know we can make it happen. He held up a hand, stopping her mid-plea. I believe you, Emma. That's precisely why I want to find a way to support you. The fair needs permits, and there are insurance considerations to address. I want you to launch this event with all the fire and spirit you have, but I need to see a detailed plan first. I can help guide you through the process. Hope rekindled, Emma's heart surprised her with trepidation. You'd be willing to help. But, that involve restrictions? Some, yes, he replied, compounding her worries. But we can frame those regulations in a way that works for you, protecting both the fair and the people attending it. Easing your way without compromising your vision. We all want this community to be a vibrant place. The prickly weight still tugged at her heart. While she appreciated his offer, part of her felt an urgent need for freedom to rally the community without red tape. So, what's next? She asked, cautiously hopeful. We put together your proposal, and in this case, I will advocate for you. With the right approach, I believe we can make it a remarkable festival, something that can be enjoyed for years to come. I want to see you succeed. A smile crept onto her face, filled with assurance that their plans could reignite the town's spirit. Thank you, Mayor. I know we can make it great. As they wrapped up, Emma felt lighter, like a balloon drifting into an expansive blue sky. The excitement bubbled back up strong, drawing in those around her once more. Returning to Jake and the volunteers, she shared the news with a contagious enthusiasm. The mayor wants to support us. He is going to help us get everything we need for the fair. Cheers erupted, fueling her energy like spontaneous fireworks. Laughter mixed with chatter as they dove into planning again, and Emma felt the tide turning. But as the sun dipped lower, a shadow of a question hung in the air: would all of the checks and balances topple the fairy tale out of reach? The sounds of joy wrapped around her, but a lingering worry tugged at Emma. What challenges still lay ahead? She couldn't shake the feeling that bigger hurdles were still around the corner. As the crowd continued to organize and share ideas, Jake leaned towards her. I can see the fire back in your eyes. Yeah, she smiled, but her heart raced with a new kind of tension. Let's just hope the mayor's support doesn't come with too many strings. While the laughter continued, Emma's gaze drifted as darkness began to settle over the park. The challenges of tomorrow loomed ahead, and she wondered what other surprises might come from those in power. Would they light her path, or cast a shadow over her dreams? The moon hung overhead, casting a silver glow on the park, where volunteers were still buzzing with energy. Emma stirred in her newfound dance of excitement and anxiety. They had something real to build on now, but she couldn't shake the nagging unease knotting in her stomach. As she joined the group, brainstorming ideas and pitching in wherever she could, Jake pulled her aside. What's bothering you? He asked, his brows furrowed. I don't know, she replied, glancing at the faces around her. The mayor's support feels great, but what if all this planning just leads to more restrictions? What if it turns into a bureaucratic nightmare? Jake leaned closer, lowering his voice. You're worrying too much. You've got a vision, and that matters more than any red tape. Remember, this town needs you leading the charge. She wanted to believe him, to trust that everything would fall into place. But doubts continued to swirl, clouds dimming her hope. I don't want anyone to lose their passion just because we can't jump through all the hoops. What if the fair becomes something dull and lifeless? The sparks of laughter continued to erupt from the volunteers, but her heart felt heavy. The stakes had grown. Would the joy she wished to radiate slip through their fingers? Just then, a voice cut through her thoughts. Jenna, one of the younger volunteers, animatedly waving her arms. I have an idea. She exclaimed, her eyes shining with enthusiasm. What if we feature local artists? A gallery walk during the fair? Everyone can showcase their work. Yes. Emma's spirits lifted for a moment. That could bring so much vibrancy. Art brings people together. Excited chatter blossomed around her, ideas flying like confetti. For a moment, Emma felt reassured, believing again that community spirit could triumph over any formal boundaries. But then a silence fell as an elder, Mr. Thompson, spoke up. That's a grand thought, Jenna, he said, stroking his chin thoughtfully. But will the permits allow for all that? We might need to reassess the space available, and, he trailed off, the weight of reality seeping back into the air. A heavy sigh escaped Emma. You're right, she murmured. We have to figure this out. Regulations could stifle our creativity if we don't stay ahead of them. The laughter faded as they steered the conversation. Each idea sparked debate, and with every new contribution came more potential pitfalls. Emma's heart thudded with the gravity of it all. What if they couldn't weave together the tapestry of dreams they all envisioned? Jake caught the eye of Emma's worry, sensing her spiraling again. Hey, one step at a time. We'll confront each obstacle as it comes. Together, he promised. His words anchored her momentarily, a small buoy in a sea of uncertainty. But she could still feel the waves threatening to pull them under. What if the mayor's help turned out to be a double-edged sword? As the clock ticked on, the group generated an impressive list of ideas, laughter giving way to nervous energy. But Emma's mind raced faster than they could talk. Then the mayor appeared, his shadow falling across their workspace. I just wanted to stop by and see how everything is going, he said, his tone jovial. The initial burst of excitement faded as everyone stood at attention, a mix of hope and apprehension in their eyes. That he eyed the collection of ideas painted across the board and nodded appreciatively. But when his gaze shifted to Emma, something in his expression registered. Was it a glimmer of approval or a veiled caution? Just remember, he stressed, an undertone of seriousness creeping into his words, it's vital we stay within the framework of what is permitted. Nothing should endanger the community. We don't want any surprises. With that, the air thickened with tension. Emma exchanged uneasy glances with Jake. Were they truly safe in their endeavor? As the mayor walked away, the laughter returned, but Emma sensed the cracks forming beneath their ideals. Could they rise above, or would the framework swallow them whole? Desperation settled in. What would they have to sacrifice for safety? With every voice chiming in with ideas, Emma realized they needed to find a way to keep their hopes intact, even if they had to morph the dreams into something else. But what could that look like? And as they regrouped, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that the real challenges were just beginning to unravel before them. What would they truly have to face? Emma's heart raced at the thought. The day of the community fair dawned bright and beautiful, but within Emma, a storm of anxiety brewed. She stood outside the carefully decorated Maplewood Community Center, a vibrant sea of colors and laughter spilling around her. Banners flapped in the gentle breeze, and the smell of Mrs. Holloway's cookies wafted through the air, sweet, inviting, and overwhelmingly reassuring. Yet, beneath the surface, doubts danced just beyond her reach. What if this beautiful moment disintegrated into chaos? Mom! Jake's voice broke through her thoughts, pulling her back into the present. He was beaming, a bundle of energy too big for his 12-year-old frame. Look at all the people. It's amazing. Emma turned, and her heart soared at the sight. Families, friends, and neighbors were gathering, faces painted with joy, eyes gleaming with excitement. The community had arrived, all drawn together under the shared purpose they fought so hard to reassert. Yes, it really is. She smiled, trying to channel his intensity. But remember, we have to keep everything organized. Don't worry, Mom. We've got this. He punched the air lightly, radiating courage. All around them, booths teemed with laughter. The talent show warmed up in a nearby field with chorus of sing-song voices, while children darted from one booth to another, collecting goodies and memories through the warmth of the sun. As the fair kicked off, Emma felt a newfound sense of sovereignty settle over her. This wasn't just a festival, it was proof that they were a united front, that their fight for the community center had blossomed into something beautiful and meaningful. However, the specter of the mayor lingered. He had been both a supporter and a subtle reminder of the thin line they walked. His assurances wrapped in bureaucratic regulations made her wary. Ready for the big speech? A deep voice pulled her from her reverie. It was Mr. Thompson, eyes twinkling as he watched the crowd. Honestly? A bit nervous, Emma confessed, her heart pounding. Don't be. You've spoken from your heart, and they love this place because you believe in it, he rallied gently. Embrace their energy, not your fears. Taking a deep breath, Emma stepped up to the makeshift stage, clutching the microphone like a beacon. The crowd hushed as she cleared her voice, excitement bubbling to the surface. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here today. Cheers erupted, her pulse quickening with the warmth of unity wrapping around her. Today isn't just about a festival, it's about our shared spirit. Her heart raced as she spoke, every chant echoing her commitment. Together, we fought to save the heart of Maplewood because we believe in our children, in our stories, and our dreams. The crowd roared back, and she could feel their energy surge through her like wildfire. One voice cut through. "You did this for us, Emma." It was Mrs. Ramirez, her voice shattering the last remnants of doubt like glass. Emma felt tears prick her eyes. This was the moment they fought for. "Thank you," Emma shouted, wiping a tear that could easily betray her emotions. "But I want to take this moment to remember why we're here. We create safe spaces, foster friendships, and nurture our children's dreams." Spurred on by her words, the crowd began chanting, "Save the center. Protect Maplewood." The voices swelled, stronger than ever, and Emma's heart soared. As the chant rolled like a tide, she caught the mayor entering the crowd to witness this powerful scene unfold. His face bore the weight of uncertainty. Emma felt a thrill run through her. Could they really change his mind? A surge of energy flooded through her, and she gestured toward the mayor. "Let us welcome Mayor Johnson to the stage. A supporter of our dreams." The crowd erupted with cheers, a mix of love and defiance intertwined in their voices. Stepping aside, Emma watched as the mayor took to the mic, hesitating as he gazed across the unity before him. I must admit, I didn't expect this." His voice resonated with genuine surprise. "You've shown the heart of this town." Hope flickered, the crowd bursting alive with a mixture of excitement and skepticism. "I will ensure your voices reach the council. This event proves you care, and with your passion, I will support efforts to keep the center. You all deserve that." Gasps rippled through the crowd, joy suffusing the air like electricity. Emma exchanged wide-eyed glances with Jake, feeling the weight of that uncertain burden lift. As the celebration continued, laughter filled the air, music thumping from the speakers, and joy bubbled in every heart. Little moments sprang to life all around her: children laughing on swings at the park, friends catching up at booths, and families creating precious memories. In that moment, Emma understood the magic of what they had built together. The community center would stand, not just as a building but as a living testament to love, perseverance, and the courage to fight for what mattered. A place for every heart that beat within Maplewood. Later that evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in soft hues of orange and violet, Emma held Jake close. "We did it, Mom. We saved our center." "Yes, we did," Emma beamed, her heart swelling with pride. This is only the beginning. With an arm around each other, they gazed into the future full of hope and a renewed promise that no one was alone as long as they stood together. But even as celebrations churned around them, she felt her heart race with anticipation of what would come next. A community forever changed, and a mother and son ready to face it all, together. Now, this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help spread this journey. I want to hear from you. Comment your reactions and feelings about this beautiful ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, we can keep this story alive.